Good evening. My name is Lisa Mackey, and I am currently a student at Liberty University Online taking the Group Dynamics course. The purpose of this video today is to talk with you about a group that I recently had the privilege to lead and answer some questions directly related to an assignment proposed by our professor. First of all, the meeting that I led was for the Lake Sakakawea area MOPS, or Mothers of Preschoolers group. The meeting was originally supposed to be held the first Monday of the month, but due to this assignment, the group graciously agreed to meet later in the month so that I could obtain permission to lead the group from the professor. When we rescheduled the meeting, we scheduled it for April 22nd. We did not realize that the church was already booked for another occasion and that there would be a school function that many of us would need to attend. So in my proposal, we were supposed to meet on April 22nd. We actually ended up meeting April 29th. The meetings typically for the MOPS group are from 6 to 8, and this meeting started at 6 o'clock. It is held at the St. Paul Lutheran Church, which is a member of the ELCA denomination in Garrison, North Dakota. Setting and the setting was our fellowship hall, which is a room that has several tables, long tables, that have 10 chairs located at each table. Typically, depending on the number of participants in our group, we do move the tables or we move chairs around so that we can all sit, usually in a circle or in a horseshoe, so we can all see each other. The number of participants that night, we had 12 moms, and then we had a variety of children of mixed ages in a separate location or room at the church. I have been a member of the Lake Sakakawea MOPS group since it started. I've always been on the steering team, which is the leadership team that plans meetings and plans things, but I have never actually served as the group meeting coordinator. So for this meeting, I actually picked the topic and set the activities and things, which I have not had the privilege of doing in the past. The purpose of this group is to provide a safe location for moms to meet and discuss some of the challenges of being a mom in our culture today. The group is part of an international group. The MOPS group is a registered nonprofit group that works to share the love of Jesus with moms. The ultimate goal of moms is that we would become stronger mothers in Christ and therefore reach out to our communities and lead individuals to a strong relationship with Jesus Christ. As I said, up to this point, I had been on the leadership team, but I had never been in charge of planning the meeting. This particular meeting, the topic was Our Neighbor's Table, and this was actually a topic on a list of topics that we received from MOPS International that was of interest to our group, which I had determined by being at other meetings. The purpose of Our Neighbor's Table is to encourage moms or community members in general to provide large spaces of gathering so that we can create a sense of community that a lot of people feel is missing in today's culture. The meeting opened with a 30-minute period of a social. This is a very informal part of our meetings where we kind of mill around eating snacks and sort of discussing anything that has happened in our life since the last meeting. And it's not typically a controlled portion of the meeting. There's no set idea for a discussion. A lot of times we include an icebreaker or something to kind of signal the end of snack time and moving into our meeting progression. And so I actually used a warm-up where I had the moms pair into dyads and we answered 3 questions. What did you want to be when you grew up? Where would you vacation if money were no object? And if you had a magic wand, what would you change about our town or community? I allowed them to discuss these things for 10 minutes, and then we came back, formed a circle, and each mom shared one answer from the whole group. I used a round format at this point so that each mom could have an opportunity to talk. Um, I um, it was an odd experience for me. Many of the group were not expecting me to be the leader. They're used to another group member leading, and so there was a period where they were kind of looking to her to see what was next or what we should transition to. And so I didn't have a co-leader intentionally, but I ended up with a co-leader at the meeting just because of the group dynamics that had been established to this point. The group was very receptive to following the request that I had for them. Like I said, they did kind of look to Holly, but she was very quick to refer them back to me as the leader of the meeting. And so we did our icebreaker, we did the rounds, we did the discussion, and then we did a devotion, and we did a quick prayer, and we watched a video that's presented on our neighbor's table. And then at that point, we followed up with a discussion about what we had just watched on the video. Some of the skills that I used or different leadership techniques, I was willing to take the leadership role. I'm very comfortable in my own skin, and so I have a loud voice, a loud presence, and I have kind of no problem sort of getting everyone's attention to bring everyone together. I'm very animated when I talk, as you can see in the video, and so I feel that people often engage with me because of my animation and my energy, and so I set the tone as wanting to have discussion, and wanting to hear what the moms felt, and so I felt that the participants were very active, involved. After the meeting, they shared with me that they were really trying hard to give me the right answers so that I could do good on my my project, which I appreciated from a mom's perspective, but it did sort of change our dynamics a little bit because it was almost like they were performing for an unknown camera. The main challenge that I encountered was being the leader, with the official leader present. And so I did my best to draw the focus away from her, by reminding them that for this particular meeting, I was the one that was kind of watching the clock and doing all of those things that she typically has done. One of the things that I think I would have done a lot differently is I did allow the discussion in the beginning to go longer than 10 minutes. In my proposal, I had said I would give them 10 minutes, and it ended up taking up a larger chunk of our time. Our moms like to talk. I'm one of them, so that is something that I would definitely think that I would do again. I think for me, the largest takeaway for me was that I did a poor planning of the time. I forgot that our MOPS group likes discussion. And because of that, I felt like I was constantly cutting members off, which our textbook talks about as being a skill of a good leader. And so I was able to explore some different ways. And since I have a personal relationship with the moms in this group, it was a little bit easier for me to cut them off because I know them and I have a level of humor that I could use with them. But I do know that in the future, if I do lead other groups, that I am definitely going to want to be more cognizant of the time, because towards the end of the meeting, we felt very rushed. In fact, we skipped our craft altogether, which our group loves to do crafts, so that was sort of a negative for me. I definitely would lead this group again in the future. And in fact, the official leader of the group and I have discussed that we would like to become co-leaders so that she isn't constantly having to plan everything every single month. We are going to shift a little bit more to a co-leadership role in the future. And so I'm excited to take the things that I learned in this project and apply them to next year's MOPS meetings to make them even better.